Hi, if you're thinking about buying a robotic vacuum cleaner like this, and if you're not really sure what to go for, then you're not on your own because there's a lot to choose from. So what I've done is come up with 10 things to consider before buying a robotic vacuum. All I normally say, just before we start, is just give us a quick thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel. What I do is I talk about household appliances, specialise in vacuum cleaners, and there's normally a bit of tech in there. So just give us a quick subscribe, then we'll make a start. So although this list is in no particular order, number one on the list, which is the maximum runtime, I'd consider pretty important, as pretty high on the agenda to look at. And what I mean by the runtime is the amount of time that the vacuum can go and operate before it has to go back to a dock and recharge. So with the majority of robotic vacuums, they come with a dock like this, and what it would do is, as the battery is running out, then most of them will go back to the dock and recharge like that. There's normally an indicator light on top of either the vacuum or the docking station as to the progress of it, so it'll tell you whether it's charging or fully charged. But most decent robotic vacuums have an automatic detection, so that when it's vacuuming, rather than just stopping in the middle of the floor, it will detect that it needs to go back and recharge. Now that is something to look out for, because there's nothing worse than coming back from being at work and your vacuum just sat there in the middle of the floor and you see it's missed half your floor. So at least if it's gone back to charge, then you can get it going again. What most robotic vacuums will do, and I suppose it's not really mentioned a huge amount, is that what they'll do is they will come out, they will vacuum for an hour or hour and a half, and then they'll go back and recharge, but if it's missed some of the floor, they won't go back out and finish the job. Now to be fair, I know some models that can do it, it's mainly some of the higher end models, but that could be something to look out for. And if that's the case, if it can go back, recharge and then go and finish the job off, then the runtime of the vacuum isn't quite as important. But majority of manufacturers, they tend to be, I suppose it's hard to around half an hour runtime. Some of them go to around an hour and a half, couple of hours. So for the majority of houses, if you can get something over an hour, that's really recommended. Now number two on the list, and again I consider it pretty important, is the bin capacity of the vacuum. Now for a lot of people buying these kind of vacuums, bin capacity isn't probably high on the agenda, that's why I mention it quite early on. But what you'll find is that, I've got a couple here that I've had a look at before. This is the bin capacity on one of the models, that's 0.25 of a litre. Now I know it doesn't sound a huge amount, a quarter of a litre, but if you compare it to other cordless vacuums on the market, that's not actually a bad size. And comparing it to this one, and I'm not joking, this is the bin on one of the other vacuums that I've got. So if you compare the two, then there is a huge difference. If you go for a vacuum with a tiny bin like that, then you're going to be forever empty in it. So I'd recommend having a look at the bin capacity on the vacuum and going for something that is a good size. There are some on the market that have self-emptying bins, and what I mean by that is they have quite a large docking station, and as the vacuum goes back to the dock, it will actually suck the dirt out and then go back out and carry on. Now clearly that kind of technology is on the higher end models, so you are going to pay a premium for it, but the technology is there if you want it. Number three on the list is the size of the vacuum, and I know again a lot of people are probably thinking, well, why is it that relevant? And I suppose for a lot of people, they're thinking that if you buy something that's bigger, it's going to be better. But with a robot vacuum, it's not always the case. And the main reason I mention this is because I've reviewed this one recently, and what I found is it just fits within chairs in my dining room. And the advantage is that it can get under the chairs without me having to move everything out of the way. Now clearly the width of it is very important for going between things like chair legs and tables, but also the height of it. Just have a measure of the height of it, because what you can find, I mean at home where I've had this running, this is actually, it fits under the sofa brilliantly, so it just glides underneath, and I can guarantee that that's going to be nice and tidy and clean under there. But the main thing is, in my kitchen, the kitchen cabinets, because the doors are quite long and quite deep, then it doesn't quite go underneath. Number four on the list is, does the robotic vacuum have an app that you can download for your mobile phone or tablet? Now I know for a lot of people you're thinking, well, it's just a vacuum cleaner, why do I need an app on my phone? But it's something that I've tried and tested, and I must say having an app on your phone is actually really good. First of all, what it does is it enables you to set schedules, So if you want it to come on at a certain time of the day, then that's all set through the app. Some manufacturers have it as a functionality on the top of the vacuum, but it means there's a lot of buttons, there's a lot more to keep it clean. Personally, I recommend having a look for one that's got an app built in. What it will also do is it should also give you the option to see, I suppose, how long the vacuum has been vacuuming for. Also, some of them actually map out your room, so you can see where it's vacuumed. So if there's a certain place it's not vacuuming, then you can just have a look on the app and it will give you an accurate diagram as to where it's vacuumed, and you can see if there's an issue there. So I suppose again, it's something that a lot of people are not really that enthusiastic about for major household appliances. Washing machines, tumble dryers is something that quite a few people tend to shy away from. So number 4 tends to lead into number 5 quite nicely. And number 5 is, does the robotic vacuum have voice assistant? And what I mean by that, does it have Google Assistant or Alexa built in? Now, quite a few manufacturers, especially if it uses an app on your phone or tablet, will have the option to have the voice assistant used as part of it. And the main advantage of having that is, as well as having the app, which is great, you can set things like schedules going, but if you have got things like Google Assistant or Alexa, then you can set your own scenarios. And what I mean by that, there could be a certain time of the day that you go out every day, and for example, you could set your lights to turn off. If you've got smart lights, you could set your vacuum to go, you could turn your music off. So all of this can be automated. So that's something that I recommend. Try and look for one that has got the voice assistant if you use things like Alexa or Google Assistant. Now number 6, and I know this is a little bit different, and again it's not really talked about, but first of all, decide on where you want the vacuum to do its job. And what I mean by that is, if you just want it to vacuum, for example, in your lounge, if you've got an open doorway to go through to, say, a kitchen or dining room, then how are you going to stop it? Now, with some manufacturers, physically you need to put something there. You might need to put, say, a box in the way so that it doesn't go into that area. But some manufacturers, you just have little like sensors that you put by the doorway, and it's almost like a little beam to stop the vacuum going across. That is a good idea. As you go up further, then you have got the ability through the app, if you were using the app, where you can actually map out your room and you can just tell the vacuum where to go. So again, it's something that doesn't really get talked about, but it's something I'd recommend, especially if you've got an open plan area, because you might find that you might want it to do certain areas on certain days. So that's something else to consider. Number 7 on the list, does the robotic vacuum have anti-drop or cliff sensor built in? And what I mean by that, when the vacuum gets to the edge of your stairs, so if it's at the top of the stairs, what it should do is to stop, and it will normally do that. So it will normally detect that there's nothing there, and it will just work its way around and then go away from the edge of the stairs. Now, it's something that never assume it's got it built in, because there are some of the very basic ones, like this one here. To be fair, this was just a cheap one that I picked up. I thought I'd just try it, but this one hasn't got it built in, and to be fair, all it does is it just rolls down the stairs. So there's nothing worse than spending hard-earned money on a nice robotic vacuum and then finding that it's just going to fall down the stairs. Number 8 is, how easy are they to clean and maintain, and also how easy can you obtain spares? Now, what I mean by this, so on this model, to take the bin out and to empty it, dead easy. As you can see, that's been in use, so that could do with emptying. But when it comes to maintaining it, ever so easy. Things like the filter, that just pulls off, and as you can see, that needs cleaning as well. I've got bits dropping off as we speak. But things like cleaning it are very easy. All you need to do is just give it a shake out. Some of the filters will be washable. There will be some manufacturers that offer things like HEPA filters. So if you've got somebody in the household that suffers with things like dust allergies, then just because it's a robotic vacuum doesn't mean that it can offer a high level of filtration. So again, have a look out for some of the models that offer the HEPA filtration. Also, when it comes to spares, what you need to do is have a look to make sure you can get things like spare filters, and also the brushes underneath. So with this manufacturer, that comes with a spare filter anyway. Also, make sure you can get spare brushes, because what you will find over time, the brushes will start to wear out, or if you do get something tangled on it, then you can find, if you have to end up cutting it away, then that could be a problem, or you might accidentally cut the brushes. So again, there's nothing worse than spending your money, then realising you can't get the brushes. And also make sure they're quite easy to take apart. You know, if you need to change the brushes like on there, then all these do is they just clip on, so it's nice and easy to change these. But I suppose connected with the maintenance of the vacuum, just have a look to see what warranty comes with it. Most manufacturers will offer a 1-year warranty, but you can find that you can get promotional guarantees, either 2 or possibly 5-year guarantees. So just have a look to see what it comes with. And number 9, does the vacuum cleaner have the option to mop as well? And what I mean by that is some manufacturers will offer a mopping option, and sometimes it's a case of adding a device like this. So this is just a mop that all you do is you just pop it under the tap, just get it wet, and then this will attach onto the bottom of the vacuum. So that just clips on like that. So all it will do is once it's vacuumed, then it offers a mopping option behind it. So these aren't designed to suck up water, so if there's any liquid on the floor then you shouldn't be using the vacuum, but this is just really an additional mop to follow the vacuum. Now as far as the ease of use, so clearly they're very easy to use on something like that. How effective they are, it's really an addition to the vacuum. Often you find that like 2-in-1 devices like this are pretty effective. It's okay as an addition. If you are relying on it to mop your floor, then I must admit it's either better to do it by hand or to get a proper mopping robotic vacuum. Number 10, and the final thing on the list, is going to be the price on the vacuum. Now prices do vary a huge amount on these robotic vacuums. In this one here, for example, I picked up, I think it's around £30–40, and I must say I'm not really that impressed with it. So the ability to pick up isn't that great. It doesn't have the cliff sensor, so it just rolls down the stairs. It doesn't have an app, so it's just really a basic bog standard robotic vacuum cleaner. As you go through the range, so this one here, this is one of the Lefant models. This is really good. I've been very impressed with it. It's got the app. The runtime on it is very good. And then you go up to the very high end. You can pay around £1,500 or even £2,000, and for that then you've got they're a lot bigger. You tend to find that the bin capacity is a lot bigger, the runtime is longer. You've definitely got the app where you can set different room scenarios, so you can have designated rooms that you wanted to vacuum in. A lot of the very high-end ones have the ability to self-empty. So again, that's where things like bin capacity isn't quite important, because what it will do is when it's full, it will go back to the main docking station, empty the bin, and then go back out and carry on vacuuming. So prices will vary a huge amount. I suppose the main question to ask is, why do you want to buy a robotic vacuum? For some people it's going to be convenience. If you have got quite a large flat or apartment where you've got it open plan, then things like the robotic vacuums are brilliant. If you have got quite a small house, especially if you've got deep pile carpets, and then if it goes onto a hard floor surface, then some of the vacuums can struggle a bit. Also, one good thing to consider is it does encourage you to tidy up, because clearly the robotic vacuum needs a clear area to vacuum. So if you have got things like kids' toys in the way, then they'll all need to be tidied away before you start to vacuum. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this quick video on the 10 things to consider before buying a robotic vacuum. I hope you enjoyed it and found it quite useful. You might have picked up 1 or 2 tips. But all I'd normally say is please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just give us a quick thumbs up, leave any comments below. I always ask for comments, whether it's good or bad, about the video itself. But there might be something that I've missed, there might be something you wanted me to talk about, either a feature or benefit. If you haven't got any questions, again, just pop it in the comments and I'll get back to you. Anyway, thanks for watching.